All right, Evan Giddings in for Darryl the Guru Johnson. I'm Matt Steinmetz, and the Golden State Warriors take on the Portland Trailblazers tonight, 7 o'clock Chase Center. Joining us right now, NBC Sports Bay Area, Monte Poole. He covers the Golden State Warriors. What's up, Monte? Happy New Year, buddy.
Hey, Happy New Year to y'all. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. We yesterday we were talking about a Warriors turning a corner, and we got into semantics, whether you can turn a corner without getting those road problems solved or not. But what has been the difference between this team when they came back from New York and this team now?
Well, I think a couple of things. One, you're seeing guys start to figure out things that they still had difficulty figuring out even 2 weeks ago, specifically on offense. There were times when the offense would just die, and you wondered why. Well, I mean, when you have an offense built around one guy and that guy's not available, meaning Stephen Curry, it takes a while for guys to kind of recalibrate and figure out how to make it work. And then you also have the issue where you don't have Andrew Wiggins, and Klay Thompson didn't play in one game in the back-to-back on Wednesday. So you've got a lot of things in the air to deal with, and it means adjustments all the time. And when you have to make that many adjustments on the fly, and your team is mostly young guys with a couple of vets sprinkled in there right now, it's tough. I mean, Wednesday night they had who are the vets that weren't available? Steph, Klay, Wiggs, Michael Green. I mean, who are trying to say who are the vets that were available? Well, Draymond and Loon. So it's a lot to try and process and work through and win a basketball game. I just thought the game the other night against Utah was maybe their best win of the season because it showed a certain resilience that I wasn't sure they had. It showed a lot of grit. That was a game that that was an L.
Right.
That was a loss. And they found a way to win it, and I was like, okay, that's impressive. Now, if they can bottle that determination and take that into the next game, they may have something. But as Steve Kerr likes to say, we need to, kind of get some momentum built here. And right now, you're just at the beginning of that.
Yeah, no, Monty, that's a great point. Against Utah, look, it's a tie game with 5.5 left. Against Charlotte, it's a tie game with 3 minutes left. Those feel like losses, a few weeks ago, a month ago, that then turn into wins. And a big part of that has been a lot of the young guys, and even throwing Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome in with the Kuminga, Wiseman, and Moody. What have you seen in the last few games from the young core from the Golden State Warriors that wasn't there a month ago?
Well, you look at the other night against the Hornets. I mean, who closed that game? Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, we've seen Jordan close out opponents before. We saw it some last year. We've seen him, kind of put the dagger into opponents. But Jordan and J.K. scored 11 of the last 12 points in that game the other night. And that's usually the territory you look to Steph and Klay and Wiggs and those guys. And Klay was out there. Klay was out there. But it was Jordan and J.K. that did that. And it was like, okay, that means something when you have two young guys working together to close out a teammate. An opponent. And, yeah, Utah's a decent team this year. They're playing better than people thought they would be. But and I thought that would be a game the Charlotte Hornets are not that good, but Utah is a good team this year. And so they backed it up the next night. You look at Ty Jerome, you look at Lamb, and you also look at Patrick Baldwin Jr.
Yeah.
The chance. So seeing the young guys show signs of development, let's face it, man, the Warriors invested a whole lot of money in their player development process. That they did that before last season. They realized, okay, look, at some point we're going to have to get younger. If we're going to get younger, we want to stay good. How do we stay good and stay young or get young? Let's rather than go after big name free agents that are 30-ish, let's go ahead and revamp our player development department. Now, it's radical in the sense that they didn't go young. They went super young. The last 5 guys they drafted, lottery picks, were all 19-year-olds. They're all teenagers. That's radical. And so that's another reason why there are so many growing pains, because You don't draft teenagers in 3 successive drafts and expect that to just, voila, become great.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way. So they're working through some of that. They're still not great, but, you can see signs of development and signs of progress.
Monte Poole joining us on 95.7 The Game. He works for NBC Sports Bay Area, covers the Golden State Warriors. It's up until a week or two ago when just the umbrella about the young Warriors. Well, it's Kuminga, Wiseman, Moody. Kuminga, Wiseman, Moody. Okay. So they've been up and down, maybe a little bit disappointing. What I'm wondering is, and I get it, the other 3 guys weren't high draft picks. They're not as highly sought after. But now it's a point where Ty Jerome, Lamb, and Baldwin. Now that's 6 really young, but I forget Poole, but that's 6 really young players. I look at the Warriors over the years. They've had like Wanamaker, Ian Clark. They drafted McCaw. He left. McAdoo, Jacob Evans didn't work out. Are we looking at guys who could be long-term Warriors in terms of Jerome and Lamb, or it's too early to say that? Or, at what point do you kind of lump all 6 of them in together and just say, we got half our team that's young?
Yeah, I think it's too early to say that on both those guys. I mean, Jerome's value went up because Curry went out, and so you need another ball handler. Before when Steph was healthy, Ty wasn't getting a lot of playing time, and with Steph out, they need him. And Lamb's getting playing time anyway because he's more trusted than some of the young guys are. The teammates trust him, the coaches trust him to do stuff that helps them win games. So he was getting playing time even before Wiggins went down, and Wiggins goes down, and Lamb becomes a little bit more important. But I don't know that either of those guys are long-term Warriors. I mean, I think Jerome is 25, Lamb's about to be 25. And so it's to go from two-way to being a long-term piece of the team, that's a huge leap.
Yeah.
And Gary Payton II could have done it, but the Warriors didn't want to pay for him. But he would have done it. But yeah, I think the Warriors are really Lamb and Jerome are 2 guys that are holding the fort down in the minds of the Warriors until the young guys can kind of get up to speed.
Gotcha.
And right now, it means that they're playing a lot because you got a couple of guys that are down, a couple of veterans that are down, so the young guys are playing more, and you also got the two-way guys playing. So I suspect when the Warriors get healthy again, that you'll see less of the two-way guys, and maybe by that time, talking about 2 or 3 weeks out, maybe by that time you'll see more of the young guys getting a few more regular minutes, guys like Moody and Kuminga.
Monty, we've obviously given credit to the young guys. We mentioned Poole, Thompson, Looney, but obviously Draymond Green has, I think, really stepped his game up. Even the last few, Memphis plus 13, Hornets plus 5, Jazz plus 6. How much of a safety net is he to this team when they are, as he put in his own words before the homestand, in a fragile place? What has his consistency brought to this team when he's been locked in like this?
Draymond, when he's on his game, he is like the ultimate backline defender. Utah is huge. They come in and they got Kessler 7'1" and Olenek is 6'11", and Markkanen is 7 feet, and Vanderbilt 6'9". And the first half of the game, you're thinking the Warriors can't deal with these guys. They're just too big. They're taking they're getting offensive rebounds. They're not giving the Warriors anything on the glass, and they're blocking shots when guys go into the paint. But in the fourth quarter, Utah scored 13 points. They got 4 field goals. They shot 4 of 25 in the fourth quarter, and I'm going to say that the primary reason for that defense is Draymond. He was blocking shots. He was gunking up their offense. He was getting in the way. He was getting steals. And so you just saw his importance. They don't win that game without him, no matter what the other guys do.
Right.
Yeah, he wasn't a big scorer down the stretch. No, that wasn't him. But his defense, when you hold a team to 13 in the fourth quarter, that's a rare thing. And without that, they don't win that game. So Draymond has been spectacular most of the season. He's had a few games that were, I would say dog games, but for the most part, he has been really, really good. He is playing like a guy who knows his contract status is a little shaky. He can come back if he wants to. He can leave if he wants to. He's playing like a guy who understands his situation.
Yeah, I agree with that, Monty.
Yeah.
Hey, Happy New Year, buddy, and look forward to catching up in the 2023.
Yes, sir. Y'all take care.
All right.